UFC 328 full card betting breakdown, and oh man, is it a banger of a card. We've deep dove the entire card, and we're starting at the very first fight of the night, getting right into the breakdown because that's how we do it here. UFC.com is clearly bugging, but first fight of the night is one with two guys that I'm pretty high on in general. Jose Ochoa, I think, has actual top 5, maybe even contender championship upside. Super young, is a Nova União kickboxer, scrappy grappler, and Clayton Carpenter's more of the traditional American wrestler. Decent hands, both are young, both are promising, but both have had spotty records in the UFC. Clayton, not to the same level of competition as Jose Ochoa, who kind of got grapple fucked on a short notice turnaround against Asu Almabayev, and then he lost that debut to Loner Kavanaugh, so 2 pretty good losses. And then Clayton, not really the best losses. Now looking back at getting subbed by Filo in the first, and then the Tagir fight was pretty 50-50, but it's a tough matchup, and there was some questionable decisions from Tagir's side. The odds kind of make sense to me. Like, I think there's some argument to having upside with Clayton, especially from a DraftKings perspective, with takedowns and whatnot, but I just think you have to take, even say Clayton Carpenter's game plan of get the grappling going, hold top control. I don't think he's going to sub Ochoa. I think his best case is multiple takedowns, but we know Ochoa is going to be scrappy on bottom. He's going to land the more significant strike standing, probably work his back, get up a bunch, make Clayton work. I think the odds are correct. I'm just really high on Ochoa as a prospect. I think he has tremendous potential. Clayton, I wish wasn't in this matchup because I think he has upside too, but if he loses this fight, he's going to be 1-3 in the UFC, and they might just cut him. I mean, both guys, loser's going to be 1-3, and both have shown promise. I think it's kind of tough that they get both matched up. I hate when my guys get, especially in the first fight of the night, get faced up against each other. For me, Jose Ochoa, and I think you could even look at like a late finish if he's just kind of pouring it on. Clayton's going to need significant amount of top time and like 5, 6, 7, 8 takedowns, really just kind of laying on top of Ochoa and bringing him back with mat returns to win this fight. I think Ochoa does a lot more damage, maybe even gets the finish late. Give me Ochoa to start the card with a dub. The favorite comes through. UFC.com bugging out, but we got Bangsir Sarsarkayev going up against Jordan Santos, and I think there's a lot of talk about people trying to get dog money and playing the Jordan Santos side, trying to fade Beisanger, and for me, there's going to come a time when we want to fade Beisanger, and I don't think this is the time. I don't think you want to fade him with a extremely hittable, somewhat chinny, doesn't have a lot of finished losses, but has been dropped and stung a ton of times. I mean, it's like you're going to see Beisanger at these huge odds often, I think, and let's see what 2-3 is. If you're going to take Jordan Santos, maybe you take him in like 2-3, huge numbers. I mean, they're massive numbers. The only reason people are having this conversation is because of the odds, and I think we can all kind of agree that Beisanger is not the caliber of fighter that usually brings -800 price tags. He's won his fights so far in the UFC, but has definitely had some adversity in those fights. I think he's getting priced like he's the next Chimaev because he trains with him and he talks like him and he's confident, but he's getting tagged up on short notice. I mean, he took the fight on like 4 days notice against that Eric guy and kind of got tagged, but then finished the fight. But it's tough. You're fighting out on 4 days notice. And then you fight Eric McConaughey, who's pretty decent, but kind of chinny. Got him out of there. Like, maybe people are just thinking that Beisanger's performances aren't as good as they actually are when you bring into fact the variables that are involved in those fights. I'm not gonna get fancy with the Jordan Santos play. I think you can just run. I mean, it's like you're not playing the Beisanger money line. Maybe you look for the KO or the sub. It's probably just a wait and see approach with him, but I will take Beisanger. I'll take Beisanger to win the fight. Next fight up, we have for my money, one of the best grapplers in the division, Pat Sabatini, going up against he who does not do a lot in William Gomi. I think this is Pat Sabatini's fight to lose. I mean, it's kind of how all of his fights are. If he gets clipped standing, we know his chin isn't great. He's going to get knocked out, but William Gomi can't bust a grape, as they say. Can't finish his lunch, and I think Pat Sabatini is going to get top control and probably get a sub. We saw William Gomi get taken down and put into a deep guillotine against Brito, and then Francis Marshall had him in some weird spots. I think Pat Sabatini, I mean, the only thing that's a little goofy is Pat's getting older and his chin isn't great, but William is not the guy that I'm really worried about hurting someone standing. I think Pat rolls here. Minus 200, minus 215 is a fair price to pay for someone who's, I think, going to just dominate. Sabatini sub seems good. Sabatini 2-3 sub, what's that at? 2 is 7-1, 3 is 10-1. Yeah, I mean, I think Pat Sabatini, massive grappling edge, obviously, gets the takedowns and gets a submission. Kind of easy as that. Like, I think he rolls here. Let's move on to the next fight. Makonico versus Kopylov. I've been kind of going back and forth with this one, and for kind of good reason. It's a massive price to pay on someone who just got deaded. Tulio got absolutely chinned against CLD, but that's CLD. Kopylov, we know what he is. He's a great low-volume kickboxer with minimal gas and minimal defensive wrestling. We've seen Tulio kind of style on Tresean Gore, show some wrestling upside on his Contender Series fight. If Tulio, who's coming off of a knockout, decides, hey, I'm going to show up, show off my grappling chops, I think he can make this fight look like he's minus 200. If he comes in and tries to replicate the Tresean Gore fight and starts trying to cardio volume kickbox with Kopylov, he could run into some issues. We don't know what the damage is that he took from the CLD fight, but that was a bad knockout. He got put out and got hurt a lot. And sometimes you come back after that and your chin's not the same. This is one of those fights where I think you can make a pretty good argument just to take Kopylov in a see what happens, see how this guy comes back kind of spot. What is Kopylov submission? Is that crazy? Or not Kopylov submission, Tulio submission. Kopylov submission would be fucking nuts. Tulio submission is plus 700. Kind of think that's interesting. Submission in 2-3 is 20 and 25-1. I think that's interesting. I think we've seen Tulio show some wrestling and grappling chops on the Contender Series fight. We've seen Kopylov. We've seen Tulio show his wrestling on the Contender Series fight. We've seen Kopylov struggle with wrestling and cardio in the past. If it's a high-volume fight, I think Tulio can have some success later, but that first round is going to be tough, and we're going to know pretty quick if he is still the same guy that he was when he fought Tresean Gore and looked like the next coming of the division. How old is he? He's 31, so he's in his prime. Kopylov is surprisingly older than he looks. He looks like he's Chase Super's age, but yeah, he's 35, and he just turned 35, actually, too. So give me Tulio. Let's take Tulio by sub as a long shot. We know Kopylov struggles with cardio, with defensive wrestling. I think we can see Tulio push a pace, maybe get some clinch going in the later rounds. I'll lay the chalk on Tulio, but it doesn't feel great if he comes out and just gets deaded from some remaining damage from that CLD fight. Moving on, we got Battle of the Old Dogs. A couple oldies going at it. Must be the most fights in UFC history. Jim Miller at this point, going on 40 years old, up against Jared Gordon. Has anyone seen if Jared Gordon's gotten hit by a car this week? Apparently, the day before his last fight, I'm sure everyone and their mother has said this, but he actually didn't get hit by a car. The tire rolled on top of his foot, and he pulled back his leg. Obviously, the car is still on your foot. You can't move. So he twisted his knee and kind of pulled some ligaments in the trying to remove himself from being under a car. And that's why he showed up with the world's biggest knee brace. I think it's kind of the end of the road for Jim Miller. He took an that was his last fight, right? UFC 300 against the... Oh, wow, no, he's fought since then. So UFC 300, he got the shit beat out of him by Bobby Green. Had a turnaround fight against Damon Jackson where he kind of memed a sub, and then Chase Hooper kind of just laid on top of him. But if he's not going up against one of the most fragile guys in Damon Jackson and Chase Hooper, who kind of just let him survive in a grappling match, I think Jared Gordon is going to probably put it on him bad. Jim Miller has the first round to get a finish, and he's live to finish. Jared Gordon is not the most durable guy himself, but I think if this gets out of the first round, Jim Miller is going to probably get it put on him. Jared Gordon, not incredible pace, but sufficient pace, great cardio, solid boxing, just went to battle with Rafa Garcia, who's apparently the next guy, and I think minus 300 never feels great about Jared Gordon. You can't bet Jared Gordon minus 300. What's Jared Gordon late finish? Jared Gordon KOs plus 325. What's Jared Gordon like 3? 2 KO is 900, 3 is 1400. I could see a scenario where, I mean, that Bobby Green fight should have been stopped. Jim Miller comes in here, needs to finish in the first round. If he doesn't get it, Jared's going to push a pace and beat the shit out of him. Give me Jared Gordon 2-3 KO. 12-1. That seems fine. All right. This is a tough one because it's kind of the theme of the card for a lot of these fights moving forward is you have someone who's the better grappler going up against someone who's the better striker, and the better grappler has chin or cardio questions. In this case, Grant Dawson, massive chin questions. And he's priced massively, but we've seen in the past, if he gets touched, the dude goes down and kind of curls up. It's not like he's getting flatlined, he's just kind of getting rocked and then curls up. Rebecca doesn't really have that one-hitter quitter style power that we've seen so far. I'm sure if he lands, Dawson's going to go down, but as a big favorite coming off of being knocked out, it's just like that spot that you have to get. You don't have to bet anything, but it's the spot that you have to kind of contemplate. Do I want to trust the better grappler with better cardio who's going to win the fight if he doesn't get knocked out, or take the get a knockout fighter? And the price is not great. I mean, Matus's money line is plus 145, KO is plus 250. Like they're saying the only way he wins is by KO. Round 1 KO is plus 550. That's probably fine. If Grant gets on top, and I mean, it's just like we're going to know how this fight's going to go in about 90 seconds. Either Grant's going to get on top, or he's probably getting knocked out. For DraftKings, you have to pick one of them. Whoever wins is going to be optimal. Grant's going to land a ton of top time, a ton of takedowns, and if Rebecca wins, he's going to knock him out, probably in the first or second round. I tend to just lean with a wrestler. It's not a fight that I'm going to be taking Grant's money line. I don't love it. There's too many question marks on his chin at this point to really be confident in his money line, but maybe like a late finish prop. Grant Dawson sub 2-3, big numbers. KO is huge. If he gets ground and pound on top, late 33-1, I think just Grant Dawson round 2-3. You don't have to take a prop, just take 2-3. You don't need the sub or the KO. He could ground and pound. Feels okay. Rebecca round 1. There's almost a world where you could play all three. Rebecca round 1, Dawson 2-3. Like, we're going to know how this fight's going to go pretty quickly. My money is Dawson gets back on the track of winning, gets on top, and rides Rebecca for a late finish. Ooh. Doesn't feel great, though. Moving on. Yaroslav Amosov going up against Joel Alvarez. And man, Yaroslav is nasty. Let's just start there. He is coming into the division with only one win in the UFC, but has dominated the Bellator scene, kind of all of the lesser non-UFC promotions. He's just ran through everybody. He had one weird fight against Jason Jackson back in the day, where it was like the first outbreaking of the Ukraine-Russian war. He was not training properly, took the fight, and kind of looked not like himself. And since then, he is just running through everybody, but he's running through everyone on the lesser-known promotions. He's beating Curtis Millender by Anaconda choke. I'm subbing Curtis Millender with an Anaconda choke. The submissions against these guys that he's fighting, he's looking good. He's beating Douglas Lima. But Yoel Alvarez is also beating Douglas Lima. Yoel Alvarez is massive. He's a great striker. This theme of the card is grappler versus striker, and the grappler being priced like massive favorite. I think in the situation that I keep finding myself in is I tend to favor the grappler because we haven't seen Joe Alvarez very successfully stopping takedowns and defensively grappling, but there's also a chance that, I mean, it's not a high chance, Amasov comes in and this is a massive step up. This is not Neil Magny. You have a fighter in their prime who's going to throw down and hurt you. I want to take the Joe Alvarez play, but then I'm looking at it like Amasov comes in and gets top time pretty easily against a guy who's not known for his defensive grappling. Joe Alvarez is going to be throwing up punches and trying to stay active off his back, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. Amasov sub is plus 450. Like, that seems pretty good. The winner of this fight is going to get a massive rankings jump and probably going to start making their way to the contender status. Do you think that these Bellator guys come over and just start working and running the show? I want to see weigh-ins. I want to see these guys standing next to each other. I want to see how they look on the scale. Joel not finishing Vicente Luque and running through him is a little concerning. Amasov doing what he did to Neil Magny is what you should do to Neil Magny at this point if you're a legit guy. I fucking really want to play Joe Alvarez, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to pull the trigger. I think we see a grapple fuck from Amasov. That's the final pick. Amasov by grapple fuck. Unfortunately. Oh boy. We have... oh, look at these pictures. Oh my god, look at these guys. Yep. We have Atiba Gautier going up against Ozzy Diaz. You know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. Massive card. They want to get a highlight reel knockout to send this into the pay-per-view. Man, they're doing Ozzy Diaz rough, dude. I mean, we saw last fight, he went to a decision against Pulayev. Pulayev, he kind of beat the shit out of him. He dropped him in the first minute, kind of just walked him down. Went 15 minutes, showed good cardio. Was never really in trouble, anything out of him just dominating the fight. Ozzy Diaz is going to get ran through here. He's supposed to. KO1. KO1 is minus 300, so you're not really doing shit with that. What's Gautier like inside 1 minute? Either fighter to win by KO in the first 2 minutes of round 1 is plus 400. Bingo! Gautier inside the first 2 minutes is plus 350. Bingo! Yeah, we're going to take Gautier inside the first 2 minutes. I think this is just a mass. Obviously, I mean, the price, he's, what is he, minus 1,500? Yeah, he's going to come in and beat the fuck out of Ozzy Diaz. Gautier inside the first 2 minutes, plus 350. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me on that one. Moving on, we have the Battle of the Unks. King Green, 34-17, going up against Jeremy Stevens, 28-20. Whoa. Those are some salty records. Albeit, King Green is looking better as of late, but is also fighting not the best level of competition. Zellhuber seems like he's a massive fraud and froze in the moment. Jeremy Stevens is doing his thing in bare knuckle, has not really won a fight in the UFC in fucking near a decade, but we know what we're getting with Jeremy Stevens. He's going to come in and throw down. And at the price that it's at, I mean, I'm kind of talking myself into a Jeremy Stevens play. Plus 300, Bobby Green, fucking 40 years old, fights with his hands down. Jeremy Stevens is going to come in and throw. I mean, sure, Bobby Green probably wins, probably beats his ass and makes him look dumb. We've just seen Jeremy Stevens kind of get walked through the last dozen fights, but kind of put it on Mason Jones, even though Mason Jones dominated him, landed some good shots, and I don't know if I trust Bobby Green's chin at this point in his career. He's been knocked out a lot, he's been beat a lot, and now he's minus 400. I'm just taking the variance here. I mean, we have two old guys fighting. One of them's minus 400 and has been knocked dead twice in the last 3 years. Jeremy Stevens just doesn't win fights, but comes in and throws hard. That's enough for me. Give me Jeremy Stevens plus 300 money line. KO plus 550. KO 1, 10-1. Fuck it. Like, at a certain point, we're playing numbers here. Give me the other 40-year-old who also has 20 losses at almost fucking 3-1. 25th. Lock it in. Massive fight again with the grappler versus striker. This time it's not a cardio issue, it is a chin issue. Running back, the Grant Dawson versus Rebecca, but this time much more confidence in Sean Brady. Sure, he got absolutely nuked by Michael Morales. Everyone's getting nuked by Michael Morales. That dude is the truth. Joaquin Buckley, we know we're getting explosive. Striker does not have shit for defensive wrestling or anything off of his back. He's going to have about 2 minutes in that first exchange to land something on Sean Brady that's going to change the fight, or I think he is going to get mauled. We saw him just get kind of dogged by Kamaru Usman at 40 with no knees. Sean Brady at minus 160 seems like a value line. Sub plus 350 I think is good. If he dies, he dies. That's kind of where I'm at for a lot of these fights. If he dies, he dies, but give me the way better grappler in a kind of a spot that I think is kind of made for him. Buckley, good luck. You got to knock him out in the first minute or so, and if you don't, you're going to get grapple fucked. Sean Brady, lock it in. Alexander Volkov, the guy that has fought everybody and their best friends. I mean, he's beating and fighting everyone the heavyweight division has had for the last decade. I think I'm going to continue to ride him. I bet him against everyone, and I will continue to. He got robbed against Gane. That was a great dog play. He beat Jailton. Sure. Minus 160 for the guy that's going to be the bigger, has wrestling upside, probably matches him in volume, doesn't have a chin issue. Like, I get the argument for trying to take a dog play at heavyweight, and I could see a decent argument for Waldo, but that's not how I do it. I prefer taking the massive veteran with huge height advantage, massive reach advantage. I mean, 2 inches, that's just not real. I'm just going to keep betting Volkov until he shows me that he's either washed or done, and if he comes in and gets chinned by Waldo, then so be it, but Waldo has not super impressed me. He's beaten some bottom-of-the-barrel guys. Knocking out Derek Lewis does not do shit for me. I get Derek Lewis knocked out Volkov. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take Volkov. What's Volkov sub or takedowns? 20-1 sub is pretty nice. Round 2 sub 40-1, round 3 sub 50-1. I could see some wrestling here from both sides attempted, maybe. I don't know. It's probably going to a decision, but I could see Volkov getting some takedowns. Is takedown props out yet? No, it's not. Yeah, I'm going to keep just riding the Volkov train until he is done. Oh boy. Co-main event is here. Man, this is a phenomenal fight. And again, we're back with the wrestler versus grappler, or the striker versus grappler. And I hate taking a contender as a favorite in a championship fight. I don't like taking a contender in a championship fight as a favorite. But I've been betting Van his entire career up until this point, and I just don't know. I just have not seen enough defensive grappling from guys that are like Taira to really trust him. He beat the shit out of Ray Saruya, who is not nearly the level of grappler who has fought the level of competition that Taira is. He beat Pantoja with that, and then he went kind of life and death war, just staying on the inside against Royval. Well, that doesn't really show me much. It's one of those things where if you could see the first 2 minutes of these fights, you're going to have a much better idea of what's to come. Can Joshua Van stop takedowns, one, and if he does get taken down, not get subbed and survive, and then really put in the work on 4-5? I think this is a situation where Taira is pretty clearly going to win the second round, and then if we're out of the second round and Van is still there, I would favor him to turn it on and win 3-4-5. But you're taking Taira as a favorite, and it's almost like if you're gonna take Van, maybe wait till the second round. I would imagine if Taira is going to have wrestling success, it's going to be early. And then you're going to trust Van to really turn on the cardio. We saw Taira in that Royval fight slow down a touch, but he's looking absolutely dialed in, career best, now training in Colorado. destroyed Moreno, but Moreno's looking pretty washed now. Just I haven't seen enough from Van to really know if I'm putting much in his wrestling. I think I'm going to take Taira. It seems chalky. I don't like taking a chalky dog in a championship fight. Sub seems okay. KO 800. He just ground and pounded Moreno. I think we could see something similar. He's going to look big. They're about the same height, 5'5", 5'7", but Taira is thick. Like, you'll see in these, I've seen a lot of the embedded and behind the scenes stuff, and man, Taira looks absolutely diced. Van just looks small, and he is smaller, 125 pounders, but even like Taira's going to be able to use probably 10, 15 pound weight disadvantage for the grappling, which is going to be massive. And I just think he's going to get Van down. And Van pulled out of his last fight with an injury. Like, it feels chalky, and I think I'm just going to be ending up siding with all of the grapplers that we just ran through. Like, I'm taking Sabatini, Dawson, Amasov, Brady. Like, I'm just taking the grapplers, and give me the wrestlers in Jersey and new. Tatsuro Taira, bringing one home for Japan. Joshua Van, better stop the takedowns and throw a ton of volume. He's going to land more strikes, absolutely. Standing, he is going to quadruple up the volume. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to stop the wrestling for 25 minutes. And I think if Taira gets on his back, that's the round, and maybe even a finish. So, give me Taira and new. Oh boy. Oh boy. That press conference was amazing. These guys are going at it, and Khamzat Chimaev is going to maul him. Let's call it what it is. Khamzat Chimaev is minus 600 for a reason. Sean Strickland at 35 years old. He's got good anti-wrestling. He's got takedown defense out of his ears, but he's never fought the level of grappler that is Khamzat Chimaev at this point in his career. We've seen Sean Strickland get taken down against guys that are not nearly the pedigree of grappler that Khamzat is, not nearly the finisher on top that Khamzat is. We've seen Abus Magomedov in that first round when he was still alive, basically before he quit and gassed. Take Sean down, take his back, put it almost sink in a rear naked choke. If Abus Magomedov is doing that to you, good luck. If DDP is taking you down multiple times with just clear double legs on the fence and just muscling you, good luck. Sean Strickland has fought a lot of guys. I do not think he is going to beat Khamzat. I think Khamzat is the most motivated he's been. That press conference was nuts. I think he takes him down and finishes him, and we're looking at a generational level fighter here who is going to finish Sean Strickland and probably move up and get, like, who's going to beat him at 205? He could go up and fight. I would favor him against Yuri. I'd favor him against Oldberg. I'd favor him against Alex Pereira tomorrow. Khamzat Chimaev taps Alex in a minute. Like, this dude... Pause. Khamzat Chimaev, by submission, within the first 7 minutes, becomes a massive superstar, chokes out Sean Strickland, moves on and becomes the reigning defending middleweight champion, and goes up and fights for the 205 belt at the end of the year while Oldberg still is recovering. That is UFC 328. Bottom to top breakdown. We got Khamzat Chimaev, Tatsuro Taira, Alexander Volkov, Sean Brady, Jeremy Stevens, massive dog. Let's have some fun. Atiba Gautier, inside 2 minutes. That's the only way to play it. Rooting for Joel Alvarez, but I think Amasov just gets the grappling going. Grant Dawson probably doesn't get chinned and get some grappling going. Jared Gordon, late finish. Jim Miller maybe retires. Maybe gets one more. He talks about wanting to fight at UFC 400, but that's not. He's going to be 44 years old, 45 years old by the time UFC 400 is. That's just not going to happen. Jared Gordon, I'll take Tulio. Like Tulio, rooting for him. Think he has some upside if his chin isn't completely dust after that knockout. Sabatini, I think, absolutely rolls. Gomi can't finish a sandwich, so now that I said that, he's going to knock out Sabatini, but no, Sabatini gets the sub. Bisanger Sursurkayev gets the knockout. I'm going to call knee to the body. Sure. And then first fight of the night, I think both guys are legit. Clayton Carpenter is maybe low rolling some of these fights. I think he could have put on a better performance and is better than he's shown. Jose Ochoa has fought the better level of competition, but I think has massive upside. I wouldn't be surprised if I look back and see Jose Ochoa as a top 10, top 5 contender, champion in the next 5 years. He seems like he is wildly talented and going to go places. That is the UFC 328 full card breakdown, top to bottom. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And give me a comment who the fuck I'm picking that you think is a wrong pick, or who am I an idiot for? What kind of breakdown you think was bad? Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Adios.